pitcher Liam Peterson with first pitch at 6:30, followed by Game 2 tomorrow at 4 with Jake Clemente on the mound, followed by Game 3 on Sunday at noon with Pierce Capola starting for the Gators. The North Florida baseball team will return home to the Nest to host Brown for a 4-game series. This will be the Ospreys' first time playing Brown since 2015, where they completed a 4-game sweep, hoping to repeat history this go-around. First pitch tonight at 6:30. The JU Dolphins also stay at home ready to host Illinois State for a 3-game series this weekend, with their third game Sunday being moved up to now at 11:30 start time. It's 49 degrees at 12 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our 3 sports-loving ladies. Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl. Hey!
This is Helmets and Heels
On 1010XL, switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
Welcome into a Feel Good Friday. Is it going to be a Feel Good Friday night, maybe, for the Jaguars general manager search to come to a close? It feels like it's very close to the end, as James Gladstone, we believe, would be being interviewed right now.
I do have to tell you all, we have a very special guest joining us at 12:20 from Los Angeles, one Jordan Rodriguez of The Athletic. And Jordan has been very transparent throughout this process with us, saying, I'm going to come on, but would you rather, wait till next week when we make the hire? And I texted her this morning and I said, well, James is interviewing this morning. And I said, well, if all else fails, maybe the hire will happen while you're on the air. Wouldn't that be fitting? The host of the play callers, on The Athletic, who's done exposés, not just on James Gladstone, but Ian Cunningham and Josh Williams, will be joining us at 12:20.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk to her. And I was joking with the guys in the handoff, like, are we clairvoyant because we had her booked for the same exact day that James Gladstone's being interviewed? Were we ahead of the curve and the schedule?
I promise you guys, I didn't plan it that way. Like, we texted her, it must have been last week I talked. It was when she was in New Orleans at the Super Bowl. And then I circled back with her once we knew who the finalists were. And I was like, so considering
all the Sean McVay ties, too.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating.
Yeah.
We did find out today that Liam Cohen, the Jaguars head coach, will meet with the media at the Combine on Tuesday at 11 a.m. And then the general manager, fill in the blank as to who that is, will talk with media at 11:30. So I would presume that on Tuesday on the Frangie Show, Mia, that we will get to hear a one-on-one with Liam Cohen and the Jaguars general manager, whoever that may be.
Hell, talk about cutting it close. You got 6 days. Until you had to wait for till after the draft.
Steve Griffin, our illustrious GM, and I were just talking, and I was like, hey, we may get him on Helmets and Heels. Wouldn't that be nice? I'm glad we're knocking these podium availabilities out nice and early, 11 a.m. So we'll see exactly what time that one-on-one will be. But the expectation is, yes, we would have Liam Cohen, the general manager, as well, one-on-one after their podium availability and local media scrum. So a ton of content will come out of Indianapolis on Tuesday. We will have boots on the ground for it. Shout out to the Boots on the Ground crew listening out there in Healigan Nation. You know who you are. And yes, I think it'll be fascinating, especially given I've heard from multiple people at the league office over the last 48 hours, ladies, who let me in on what we already knew, which was on that tentative schedule that was released at 11:05 this morning. It verbatim said, Jags GM to be determined, and people in the league office just couldn't help but chuckle at it. Yeah. And I don't blame them because I just showed it to Steve, too, and I was laughing.
I think if they had put Jaguars interim general manager Ethan Waugh, right, because they could, that's technically his title, then I think there would have been so much pushback that I feel like the Jags wanted to get ahead of that and say, yeah, you can put TBD. Yeah. And if it ends up being Ethan Waugh, we'll deal with that at that point in time. But as of now, we are obviously interviewing candidates. We are putting out videos in the hallways.
They could have just ruined everything and actually put a name and just messed with everybody.
And it will be initials JG or EIC. Speaking of Jaguars, by the way, I got to see Josh Hines Allen and Foye Oluokun having a blast last night at the River City Rumble at UNF Arena, as UNF did win that ball game 77-73. It was a ton of fun, great crowd, electric environment. JU certainly battled hard without Stephon Payne playing. And Rob McCray had a shot with about 6 seconds left in the game. I had a really good look at 3. It just didn't go in. But had that gone in, then certainly we would have seen the last 6 seconds be even more drama-filled. But it was a great night.
I do want to debrief last night's game because it was an epic River City Rumble. But, RJ, we haven't fired up an Imagine in a hot minute. So let's fire up an Imagine, and a special one for some folks at the River City Rumble.
Imagine with Closets by Design.
Imagine your home totally organized.
Yes, the rumors are true. My beautiful walk-in closet has been installed. Whether you want cabinetry, whether you want a garage, maybe extra fitting, if you want your pantry refitted, if you can imagine it, Closets by Design can build it right alongside you. So, I get a lot of flack, ladies, and rightfully so, in many regards, but especially in light of the war that I launched about 4 or 5 years ago. That war is the war on safe security. That, of course, stemmed from maybe some interactions with a couple, people who maybe I was pushing the limits of what, I was allowed to do and not allowed to do at a Iceman game and then a Sharks game. And this was like 4 or 5 years ago now. And so,
unfortunately, so you were breaking the rules.
No, it wasn't actually. It was that I was working at First Coast News and I tried to go in the side door where VIPs come in, as opposed to the back entrance of media, because I was walking there because I wasn't going to drive because it's right next to. Anyways, they got mad at me. They're like, you don't come in this door. You come in the other door.
So you were breaking the rules.
No, I was just saying, look, that you're being stupid. Anyways.
I think you were breaking the rules to continue.
Exactly, Lauren. You are safe. I'm just kidding.
I'm not safe security.
These people are not safe. These people are not safe security, and I love them dearly, and that's why this Imagine is dedicated to them. And when you bring up Josh and Foye being at the game last night, Lauren, I wanted to give a shout out to Miss Betty. Miss Betty is employed by UNF. I don't think she's employed by Safe Security, but she is the force. She is the wall for the VIP credentialed media entrance into UNF Arena. I see her every day whenever I go into games, whether for 1010, if I'm calling the game for ESPN Plus, if I former life in local news. And Miss Betty,
she does a great job.
Does a great job. And Miss Betty would not let any of our 1010 Excel media personnel in until she had the exact credential. It doesn't matter your name's on the list. I don't have the credential. I had a lot of phone calls in which I had to ask many of our younger employees to put me on the phone with Betty. And in one instance last night, I was on the phone with Betty, and then I'm told that Josh Allen and Foye have also walked up, and she is not allowing them access into the arena either because she doesn't have their credential. And you know what? I just want to give a shout out to Miss Betty.
She's doing her job.
She's doing her job. She's not letting anybody break the rules. And so, yes, I'd be remiss if we didn't imagine here for a second what the world would be like without Miss Betty and the great security here in Jacksonville.
There would have been some crazy people up in the arena.
I used to work at UNF, and the safe security people were always amazing. And there's one, honestly, Jerry. He still texts me on every holiday.
Oh, I love
that. So sweet. Yeah. So I guess it just depends on
you are a rule follower. Lauren.
Yeah, I'm never breaking.
And
the
I
rules.
am not.
Yeah.
So
you move cones and stuff. So
I've moved a cone or two in my day. So yes, we certainly have just make things happen.
All right, one person, I guess you could call him the gatekeeper for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah.
That would be Executive Vice President Tony Baselli. He chatted with a couple different people on Sirius XM, and I know that we've had him on, obviously, 1010XL for years, but now that he's going on some other national programs, I wanted the listeners to hear the latest from Baselli as far as what Liam Cohen wants to build here in Jacksonville.
You got to get the head coach right. You got to get the quarterback right. We believe that we have a franchise quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. Like I'll pound the table for that one.
And a lot of change around him hasn't been good.
This is going to be his third head coach.
Yeah, and all the different play callers and all that.
And all the different systems and everything else. So that you can't do that. You got to help a quarterback have consistency and build with him and build it around him. And I'll tell you the thing that jumped out at me about Liam when we interviewed him. I don't know if you guys, how many people know this, but Liam Cohen is a believer in the run game. And what just came off the page with him for me was we're sitting there talking in the interview, and his main focus, we talked about Trevor, obviously, and the quarterback, but his main focus is the offensive line. The line of scrimmage. He says, listen, we have to get the O-line right.
He's
if
smart.
You can't control the line of scrimmage, if you can't run it and you can't protect, you can't win. And then he says, we got to get the D-line right. His points of emphasis were the O and D line, which you don't hear from most of the OCs today because they're talking about, throwing it all over the yard. And that's when I said, okay, this guy gets it. He understands. His philosophy aligns of kind of how we want to do it. And I believe that's the way you have sustained success.
Those words are hard, by the way. Sustained success. It sounds like Tony
I just can't say that.
burning the midnight oil as far as all these interviews and things. I wanted to play that because I do think Liam Cohen certainly hit on it in his opening presser, but it's easy to then get distracted and start thinking about, well, the Jaguars really do need a corner and they need another wide receiver. It feels like that number 5 pick, and certainly we're going to learn more next week through y'all's coverage at the Combine, Mia. It feels like that number 5 pick is going to be a big guy.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt. And I said that yesterday on Duval Rundown. Like, I am very much in the camp of it's not going to be sexy per se, but hit the double off the wall. And the double off the wall is Mason Graham or Will Campbell. And it's as simple as that. And while, yes, there are those of you who just heard me say that and you go, Will Campbell's a tackle. She's trying to run Walker Little or Anton out of town. No. You kick him inside to guard, which people have already been talking about because, yes, the arm length. Dare I say those two forbidden words. But you kick him inside. He's just a good football player. And I think that the arm length, Trent Baalke joke aside, Lauren, like that's what this team and that's what Tony Boselli certainly is in the business of. Just go out and get a good football player. Matt Hayes has banged the table here at 1010XL headquarters for years. Just go out and get good football players. In a previous era, I think both of those players aren't given a fair shake by the Jaguars' top brass. This year they will be, and it's because, A, the priority is both the lines, and B, because they're good football players, they are a double off the wall.
It will be interesting to see how much whoever TBD general manager approaches this. Obviously, free agency starts to change things too, and so we'll see how that is approached in the first place. But also, interior offensive line in this draft is one of the deepest positions too, and so there's a lot of talent on the interior offensive line. So are they looking at that in that light and saying we have a lot of chances in the second, third round to still get a really, really good interior offensive lineman? And obviously it depends if Mason Graham's there and what that kind of factors in. But I just retweeted a chart earlier from Football Insights, and it was the pass rush win rate by defensive position. And so it has like one of the axis is the defensive interior and then the edge defenders. And so the Jags, when it comes to edge, are towards the top when it comes to pass rush win rate. We know why. We know there's a guy named Trayvon and Josh on this team that do that. But the highest is the Browns and the Rams, and they were creating about 16% win rate. The Jags are just below 14% with that, towards the top of the league. Aside from the Panthers, they are dead last when it came to defensive interior pass rush win rate this last season. And I think that when you look at something like this, I mean, it was the Panthers who had 3 under 4%, and the Jags had a tiny bit over 4%. So you're only winning tiny bit over 4% in the interior, and you're wondering why so many other things were affected when it comes to helping the outside pass rush, when it comes to helping the secondary and all of these other factors. And so I do think that this has to be something that you are strong, like very, very heavily leaning on and looking at, because yes, I think the offensive line still needs help, but I also just do think when you look at this defensive line and with how deep the offensive line is interior-wise in this draft, you have to focus on this to me.
And you know who I trust to evaluate offensive line talent?
Yeah.
More than most?
Yeah.
Tony Boselli. He finally gets to have an opinion.
Even though he has defended some players in the past where I'm like, I don't love that.
That's as the role of being one of the champions for the team, right?
Yeah.
Like this role is so different than being media. And it's why your point right there, Taylor, as far as the statistics to support the fact that we've screamed that the interior of the pass rush has been subpar. Chris Jones has over 40 sacks in the last 5 years. Mm-hmm. The Jaguars have had none of that type of interior pass rush for a long time. Malik Jackson, Marcel Darius, we're going back 7 years since they've had that kind of a push. And so that's where I don't think you can take an Abdul Carter at 5 because you are really good on the edge.
Well, he's not going to be there at 5, first and foremost.
But if he
may not.
Yeah.
But if the quarterbacks end up going, again, that's where the combine next week is so fascinating because we're going to see so many risers, and certainly Jags fans hope and Jags brass hope that the quarterbacks are among the risers, and so then yes, you at least have your options there. But yeah, I just don't think that they can go that route. I think they do have to go with an interior defensive line, most likely, and then circle back and get the interior offensive line.
I need you from the combine to start tweeting out how much you think that Cam Ward, Shador Sanders, Jackson Dart all need to go in the top.
Hey now, wait till you see on our video and social channels what today's MyBookie pick is, because it may be leaning right into that. And for those of you who, you know what, I'm going to spoil it for you guys. It's okay. If you're not on Instagram, some of you aren't out there in Healigan Nation, I might as well just cue you in on this. Right now at mybookie.ag, which of course use promo code 1010XL when you sign up, the best odds to be drafted with the first overall pick. Just give me some thoughts. Where do you guys think ballparking? I know our time's a little bit short here. Who do you think is first, second, third, fourth, fifth?
Yeah, I can't go quarterback. It's hard for me because I haven't seen
Travis Hunter's in there.
Travis Hunter, sure. Abdul Carter, I feel like are 1-2 at this point for most people.
Cam Ward is the best odds at -141. Abdul Carter, the second best odds at +164. Travis Hunter, the third best odds at +550. And this is where it gets fun, folks. Shador Sanders +650, Jackson Dart +5,000, Jalen Milroe +8,000.
Let's push it.
Let's keep it going.
We're going to create a whole narrative next week at the Combine. Quarterbacks are going 1, 2, and 3.
Yes, let's go.
All right, we will chat with Jordan Rodriguez of The Athletic on the other side to talk all things Rams. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Hi, I'm Troy Aikman.
I'm John Fox.
This is Heisman Trophy winner Gino Torretta on 1010XL.
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 92.5 FM.
From humble origins on Beach Boulevard to the grandeur of the old homestead, Takaloo has bucked the odds, selling cheap tacos and even cheaper beers since 2008. I'll be the first to lament that nothing is cheap anymore, but much has not changed in 17 years. Bangin' Shrimp still rocks, margaritas flow day and night, and we love to see old friends and make new friends every day. You can still spin the wheel or sit outside on the patio in the sun with friends and family. It's been a ton of fun, and we have you, Jacksonville, to thank for 17 years. Takaloo in Jacksonville Beach.
Lauren Brooks here at Hodges Mazda. They're proud of their solid reputation in the Jacksonville community. As your hometown Mazda dealer, their high customer service standards and their huge inventory of new and used cars provide all of their customers a consistently first-rate car buying experience. Their professional, non-commissioned sales team puts your best interest first without exception. And all new vehicle purchases include the Hodges Mazda Protection Package. Visit them online at hodgesmazda.com or stop in today to learn more and discover the Hodges Mazda difference.
Did you know your pup could take 30,000 to 60,000 steps a day at Dogtopia of Jacksonville Beach Boulevard? That's a whole lot of tail wagging fun with their best furry friends. At Dogtopia, they turn playtime into exercise, learning, and socialization in their off-leash, open play environment. Dogs build confidence, reduce anxiety, and stay happy and healthy, all while having the time of their lives. Visit Dogtopia of Jacksonville Beach Boulevard today.
Craft beers, food trucks, live music, and more beer at the Riverside Craft Beer Festival this Sunday afternoon at Riverside Arts Market. Get your tickets at riversidecraftbeerfestival.com. Proceeds benefit Community Peace Care and the Rotary Foundation.
If you're listening to 1010 and you're a parent, chances are your kids are playing sports. Well, check out i9sports.com with spring and summer registration open right now, including all new girls volleyball at Duval Charter Bay Meadows. i9sports.com, enter 1010 for a discount.
Home is where your story begins. And at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, we're here to make it the healthiest, most comfortable place it could be. Whether it's fresh, clean air, dependable plumbing, or reliable power, we take care of it all. From routine maintenance to state-of-the-art solutions, Donovan keeps your home running smoothly. Because at Donovan, we believe your home isn't just where you live, it's where your health meets comfort. Call Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing at 904-270-COOL or visit us online. Let's make your home healthier, safer, and better together.
This Black History Month profile is brought to you by McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center. McGowan's got your back. Ken Burrow was a Raines High School football legend who led the Vikings to an 8-1-1 record in its inaugural season along with the Big 9 North Conference Championship. At Texas Southern University, Burrow racked up an impressive 138 total receptions for 1,912 yards. As an All-American in both track and football. He passed away peacefully in 2002 at the age of 73.
Dan and Jeff take you down the fairway with the PGA Tour professionals.
Keep an eye on this one.
Crunch with the Tour.
Tour news, tips, and inside info. Brought to you by
Clearwater Irrigation. 8:30 Tuesday morning on 1010XL.
Hey, gang, Prosser here. We've talked about some of the struggles that you may come across when it comes time to sell your home. We've told you how great Chad and Sandy are at chadandsandy.com. But, they're also great when things are going good, and the economy is showing positive signs. Now may be the time to sell your home at the price you want. It's easy to find out. Get friendly expert help from the Jacksonville agents who eat and sleep local real estate. Call my agents, Chad and Sandy Newman. So maybe you want guaranteed no-hassle home sale but don't want to give up hard-earned equity to do it. Chad and Sandy can do that. Maybe you're worried you won't sell your home for the price you need. Well, let's take care of that right now, because here's the Chad and Sandy guarantee. Your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Jonathan in Mount Pleasant said the only thing standing between me and my dream of traveling in my RV was the sale of my Mount Pleasant home. I heard Chad and Sandy on the radio and called. Crazy results in just 3 days. Multiple offers, full asking price. You can get it too. Call today or go to chadandsandy.com.
These days, it feels like everyone is talking about how the American dream of homeownership has become out of reach for so many of us. Well, Rocket is trying to give us more of a chance to own our homes. They're making homeownership simpler and more accessible to more people, turning renters into owners. Rocket believes that every one of us deserves a shot at the American dream. So, are you ready? Own the dream. Visit Rocket.com or call 800-4ROCKET.
This is head coach Matthew Driscoll from the UNF men's basketball team. When our players suffer an orthopedic injury, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists gets our players back on the court pain-free.
We appreciate the endorsements from our high school and college coaches. This is Dr. Kevin Murphy. The next time you need orthopedic care, you can rely on our team at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
It's game time for your business, and Advanced Business Solutions has the winning play. With Xerox copiers, you'll never miss a deadline. Fast, reliable, and built for high performance, Xerox copiers keep your team ahead of the competition. From printing to scanning, Xerox brings the MVPs of efficiency to your office. Ready to make the winning move? Hire the champions at Advanced Business Solutions. Veteran owned.
Printers, copiers, and IT management. Advanced Business Solutions.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
It is 12:21 p.m. Eastern Time. The Jags haven't hired a GM yet, right, Lauren?
Yes.
Right, Taylor?
Not yet.
Okay.
But yesterday you said there wasn't a flyover, and right when you did, it happened. So.
You are not wrong there. In case you missed it, we were live. And thanks again to our friends at First Florida Credit Union. Words have been hard for me this week because I'm so excited to talk with our next guest and, of course, to find out who the Jaguars' next general manager will be. Unfortunately, it won't be this lovely lady, but she does have insights into three of the top 5 candidates for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Jordan Rodriguez of The Athletic, kind enough to join us at 9:20 p.m. Pacific time. Jordan, thanks so much for hopping on with us.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I got the Combine podium list for coaches and GMs from the NFL this morning, and it just says Jaguars GM TBD. So a little passive-aggressive from the league there, I think, on that one.
They're like, you have 6 days. Figure this out.
We led the show with it because I had people in the league office texting me yesterday being like, this is so weird. Like, does anyone else find this strange? And I was just like, no, it's the Jags. Of course it has to be unorthodox. And so speaking of their general manager search, which, of course, was delayed ever so slightly because Shad Khan waited approximately 2 weeks before parting ways with former general manager Trent Baalke. It has finally appeared to be at its end. 5 candidates, as I alluded to, Jordan, on your Play Caller series, available, of course, wherever you get your podcasts on the Athletics Podcast Network. You have spoken with 3 of these 5 individuals. I will let you take it from here, whichever way you'd like to go, whoever you'd like to start with. Number 1, plug the pod. Number 2, tell us about Ian Cunningham, Josh Williams, and James Gladstone.
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be here. We've had some great back and forth over the last week, 2 weeks or so, and as this process has dragged out a little bit, I think is a nice way to say it. But I would also say, for all of the time that it's taken and all of the delay that it started with, I think the Jaguars are interviewing some of the best young and ascending GM candidates in the league right now. And I know that other teams rush to hire those people, and I know that other teams have their people in place right now, but there is a lot of belief in league circles, particularly about these three that you mentioned that were on my play caller series, that were part of my Finding Rams series, where I spent a year inside the Rams scouting department last season and off season. And so I'll start with James Gladstone, who really is the reason that the Rams overhauled their draft efforts after the 2022 season and really nailed the last two draft classes, 10 starters between two of those draft classes, and finalists each year for Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year. It's just been astounding to watch James sort of traffic control and strategize them through all of these new processes that they've implemented with Les Snead at the helm, of course. But James Gladstone has quietly been Les Snead's right-hand man for many years, from humble beginnings as one of Les Snead's children's high school coaches that he overheard talking about scheme to one of his kids and thought, I have to hire that guy. So really humble beginnings for James Gladstone, but no surprise to me to see that he's one of the finalists.
Jordan, when we're talking about some of the issue, or I guess some of the difficulties, some of the challenges that the Rams had previous years because of not having that first round pick for several years, or a lack of picks for several years, some of this because of trades that have been worth it, but it still brings some challenges when it comes to draft time. Tell us a little bit about how Les Snead and company, James Gladstone, everybody was even able to navigate their way through those years and still win a decent amount of football games for the majority.
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I think a big part of that is the collaboration between James, between Les Snead, and between Sean McVay. And I think that's what all of these three candidates that we're going to discuss today have in common, is they are quite used to and accustomed to working with the football side and collaborating to match the best players that they can with the scheme and with the demand and expectation and specifically the onboarding and development process that the coach has in place. One of the reasons why the Rams were able to attune their scouting and draft process with a fine-tooth comb and then really modernize it and make it, in my opinion, because I saw it up close and because the results speak for themselves, one of the best processes that there is right now in the NFL, is because they talked through every facet of it, every element of it with Sean, and they kind of attune different characteristics or different traits for players that they would be looking for that match certain demands and qualifications that Sean McVay himself demands within his scheme and within the structure and within the defensive scheme and within that structure as well. They really have been interested in as well in identifying intangible traits, and they have an entire methodology that's outlined in that series over on theathletic.com about how they find Rams, really, how they find people who they call Rams, who have those captain qualities, who have the personality assessments and the IQ and the EQ that they demand in their building, because they understand that they're going to have to contribute immediately, especially when they were doing the picks for players trades where complementary players had to come in. They had to be middle round picks who could play, because you had to complement and supplement those areas of the roster. And then when they overhauled their roster, those players really had to come in and play because there was nobody left. So it was really interesting to watch how they maximize not just those physical characteristics, but understanding that when you get into the middle and late rounds of the draft, you're actually not going to be able to have all the physical characteristics you want. So how do you maximize out the intangible qualities that actually elevate players at this level, and those traits that can help sort of mask over some of the physical deficiencies?
Jordan, here they've decided that it's going to be coach-centric. So Liam Cohen is pretty much the one who will be deciding all things, but obviously in conjunction with the new general manager, in conjunction with the EVP of football operations, Tony Baselli. Since you are so close to the Rams, how does it work as far as Les Snead, Sean McVay? We know Sean McVay has a big personality, but how does that work as far as if they disagree?
Well, they fight. And I think it's healthy, honestly. And I think that's something that people in some organizations are scared of. But like I said, those three candidates, especially, we talked about this with Ian Cunningham at length as well on the play callers And I know if you're in Kyle Shanahan's building and you're Josh Williams, you're fighting too. And so it's one of those things where none of these guys are afraid to have those direct and honest conversations. There's a saying in the Rams building, Raheem Morris kind of coined it a couple of years ago, where he's like, I'm with you when you're right. Basically, if you have an argument and you can back that argument up with tangible and qualified data and analysis, you're going to be listened to. And I think that is one of the things that has made Les and Sean such a good fit together, is they listen to each other. And there is no struggle over power. There is no hierarchical ranking within that building. I think a dangerous thing for the Jaguars to do and for Liam Cohen to do would be to set that tone immediately with any of these three candidates if he does that, because those guys all are entering this process with the intent to collaborate and the practice of collaboration in their respective buildings. And so I think that is ultimately would be a positive and a value add, because that's an honest and functional conflict that can really get a lot of really interesting new and progressive ideas done and can really make positive change in a building that I think needs it.
I'm not going to lie, Jordan. I'm going through a leadership master's program of sorts on the side right now, and there were several instances, including that note you just made about being okay with fighting if it's constructive, that I have actually already referenced to my class, because the example of Kyle Shanahan when he was the offense coordinator for Robert Griffin III with the Washington football team, where he encouraged Robert to install a play from his college days. It didn't work out. He was so invested in it that he went back the next day and reinstalled it. And then Kyle said, you see how invested you are? That's how I am with every single play. So please give me that same respect. So many great lessons from the Shanahan and McVay tree. Let's flip it over to Kyle Shanahan's, tree, if you may, with Josh Williams, a name that I heard as a potential GM interview as early as, November. Tell us a little bit more about his rise from an Ivy Leaguer back to his home state of California and rising through the Niners organization.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because Josh is sort of like an unwilling participant of the spotlight, right? And so people, I think, and you're absolutely correct, his name has been floating around league circles for general manager positions and for candidacy this cycle. But even before that, he was sort of one of those people who was thought of as, if you don't hire this guy this year, then you're going to miss out on him when 5 other teams want to hire him next year. And I think that's a super interesting quality because it points to the lack of experience at the actual GM job, which all 3 of these candidates have in terms of that lesser experience, I think, than some of the more tenured guys that are being filled in at these other positions around the league. But at the same time, it's interesting because Josh has really seen how the 49ers rebuilt things from the ground up. From those early days in 2017 when they were not a good football team and they had to really overhaul a lot of processes. They had to install, and they did install, this really cutting edge. At the time, it was like whispered about as this sort of like laboratory, the research and development department. Really what it was they were overhauling a bunch of their analytics processes and a bunch of their talent identification methods that matched the football side, that matched what Kyle Shanahan wanted to do. Kyle Shanahan and Mike Shanahan were in those rooms and in those meetings, which was unprecedented for that building at the time. And it was unprecedented really across the league at the time to have that kind of a collaboration and a partnership from the ground up with a group of people, Josh included, who were able to build that thing and build that program the way that we see it now as kind of one of the juggernauts in the NFL who make it into the playoffs most years, if not very far into the playoffs in most years. Josh was a big part of that, but also worked his way up from wanting to really immerse in the football side of things and cross and connect those 2 buildings together. So I think when I would describe Josh to people or when people would ask me about him, I would say you could put him in any room, in any building, whether it's football side, business, analytics, front office, executive leadership, and he'll fit right in seamlessly because he knows every language that a building requires. And one of the things that I think is special about him and about Ian and about James as well, because they have a track record of it, is connecting those areas across all of these rooms, across all of these buildings, bringing them together so everybody has not just the same alphabet as each other, but the same words, the same language, and the same tools.
Jordan, before we let you go, I want to kind of connect all of these. And when we talk about some similarities of what they've had to deal with in the organizations they have been with at times. And I've talked a little bit on here about sometimes when you want to build something and to form a consistent winning product, you do have to make some painful decisions. You have to let go of players you have attachments to and maybe focus on what's the boring side of things when it comes to the offensive line and things like that sometimes. But I think that all three of those, when we're talking about Ian Cunningham, Josh Williams, and James Gladstone, they've all had those moments in time with their organizations of maybe making uncomfortable decisions, but knowing that in the future that it was going to make the product better. How do you feel the reaction has been in each of those organizations and when it had to come to some of those decisions and just kind of trusting the general manager in that sense?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think all three of that's a great question. You guys this is awesome. I'll come back anytime.
I was going to say, we're going to need you back anyways, Jordan. We could do it in person next week, too, at the Combine. It's all good. No worries.
Why aren't you guys running the team?
We ask it a lot. Don't worry. You're good.
So I really think that these three particularly, and you see it a lot with some of these ascending coaches, too, not just from the McVay and Shannon tree, but the Ben Johnsons of the world. You know, Dan Campbell as well, even though he's a more tenured coach. Mike Tomlin has always had this. You know, people who thrive in discomfort because they understand that it's a vessel to carry them into the next solution. And I think that is a trademark of all three of these guys is the discomfort element or the perception element, or it's really not something that matters. You know, Les Snead always says looking at things through a microscope and a telescope at the same time is one of the real gifts that someone needs to possess in order to succeed and become a tenured general manager as he has. You know, as you know, when Ian worked for Ozzie and the Ravens, and when he worked for Howie Roseman, you know, Josh working for John Lynch for so long, you know, it is one of those skills and those gifts that you have to develop over time is understanding that sometimes the short-term pain or the short-term discomfort really only serves as a vessel into a long-term solution. I think those guys, all three of them, and I know all three of them, I think they're all really comfortable in that place. And having the buy-in and having the personalities to galvanize people, to bring people along with them. And again, and I want to stress this, and I don't know if Shad is listening to this show or not, but
better be.
I do want to stress this, the collaboration, not someone being in charge of others, having the collaboration between coach and front office, to me is absolutely crucial. And I think a trademark of all three of these people, and I hope that they, whoever gets this job gets the chance to do that.
Yeah, we certainly hope so as well. By the way, Jordan, did you take that personality test, the intangibles test?
I did, but they wouldn't tell me what my results are. They have them in their system. That system jars. I'm going crazy over this, seriously. Like for the last year.
That's torture.
Thank you for asking. This is in public right now. Like they have my information in their database, like my scouting reporter, if you will. Like they have all of it because I went through the process and it was so fascinating. And it was, you know, I would get into it more, but a lot of it was off the record. But it just was like, I was like, okay, well, send me my results. Still haven't gotten them, guys, by the way.
What?
Like, either that's a really bad thing or a really good thing.
Yeah, they're like, you don't want to know.
James Gladstone is somewhere in the city of Jacksonville right now, Jordan. We can go track him down. He hasn't taken his walking picture through the hallway with Tony Baselli just yet, or at least it hasn't been posted on social media. So we can go find him. We will get your results for you, and we will most definitely have you back on the program, regardless of who the pick is. Obviously, I think a lot of the odds makers would say there's a good chance it's one of these three individuals who you've gotten a chance to really work with.
Well, thank you guys for having me. Yes, please track those down. Make that an ultimatum. In fact, he's new, so he won't know the difference. So, you know, and I appreciate you guys having me on, and I'll see you next week in Indy.
Absolutely. Again, Jordan Rodriguez of The Athletic. And by the way, Jordan is also on NFL Daily with Greg Rosenthal. Make sure you listen to her on there as well. Thank you to DJ Dell for reminding me. And Jordan does great work across both the podcast space, written space at The Athletic as well.
Yeah, I think if people are like, that name sounds so familiar, Jordan Rodriguez, it's because, yes, if you remember the incident with Cam Newton calling out a female reporter for asking him about route runs. Yeah, the routes that were being run.
I've never heard a girl talk about routes.
Right, legit was like, I've never had a female talk about routes. And she was like, well, this is my job. I think if you just listen to that interview, you should fully respect anything she has to say about football because of how close the Rams let her get an entire year with a scouting department. That is insane.
The MyBookie digital chat line right now is trying to trade one of us for Jordan. So yeah, I think that they're buying what she's selling.
Odds on which one?
I'm getting a kick out of it. We got 100 of you guys who I guess the word must have got out that, oh my God, they have Jordan Rodriguez on right now. We need to watch. Yeah, this is it's hilarious. But I know many of you came into the chat saying, oh, she's going to hype up James Gladstone. And to your point, Taylor, certainly Jordan also did a one-on-one with Ian Cunningham. She's also done profiles with Josh Williams of the San Francisco 49ers, all 3 candidates, finalists for the Jaguars GM job. And so we weren't here to just pump up the finalist interview today, folks. Jordan has expertise and has worked with each of those individuals.
Absolutely. All right, we've got more to do on the other side. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Your home for Florida Gators basketball is 1010XL.
It's the nation's number 2 against LSU. Gators Tigers. Saturday at 5:30 on 1010XL.
Don't miss the Players Championship, March 11th through 16th at TPC Sawgrass. This can't-miss event features a variety of activities for every fan to enjoy, from delicious bites to the Sawgrass Splash. There are endless fan enhancements that will make for a memorable experience. Plus, watch the top PGA Tour players, including back-to-back champion Scottie Scheffler, take on the iconic stadium course featuring the famous Island Green. Tickets available at theplayers.com.
Value or flavor? Price or taste? Why choose when you can get both with everyday deals at Sonny's? Right now, you can get the pork big deal for $10, the pork and rib combo for $12, and all you can eat ribs for just $19.99. Yep, you heard right. All your favorites are now available all day, every day. And that's why it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
If you've played sports or still lead an active life, chances are joint pain is nothing new. This is Dr. George Barry of Barry Orthopedics, and we like to be your option when it comes to taking care of your body and getting back in the game. From shoulders to elbows to hip and knee pain, Barry Orthopedics can diagnose and treat a variety of injuries that are causing you pain. We are Barry Orthopedics and online at barryorthopedics.com. With more than 30 years of experience, our team is here to care for your entire family.
Find out more at barryorthopedics.com. That's BAHRI orthopedics.com.
Seminole Hard Rock Tampa is excited to bring you live craps, roulette, and sports betting. All under one roof, hotter than the Florida sun. Feel the luck of the dice, watch the roulette wheel spin, and scream for your touchdown as the big screen comes alive. Dine like a rock star, sip cocktails that shimmer, then dive into the heart of Las Vegas right here in Tampa Bay. Live craps, roulette, sports betting is here. Get in on the action now, only at Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino Tampa, located off of I-4 near I-75. Gambling problem? Call 1-888-10-MINUTE.
Whether it's a leaky pipe, a backed-up septic tank, or your heater isn't keeping things cozy, call Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769. DuckDuckRooter.com.
This is Daytona, the awe-inspiring spectacle of Supercross, and the most challenging course to witness the air-catching, adrenaline-pumping, heart-pounding action unlike any other race in Florida. Daytona Supercross. The biggest names battle it out under the lights at the World Center of Racing. Don't miss it. The gate drops Saturday, March 1st. Secure your tickets and trackside access today at DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On February 21st, 2003, Michael Jordan becomes the first 40-year-old in NBA history to score at least 40 points, hitting 43 in the Washington Wizards' win over the New Jersey Nets.
Has someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI, domestic violence, and all criminal offenses. In your battle with the justice system, there's only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645. 354-5645.
Joe C. for CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living. They can transform your backyard with fire pits, pergolas, screen enclosures, and outdoor kitchens. And CSS handles the entire project from start to finish. You dream it, they build it. CSSOutdoor.com.
You don't have to be a football star to get a signing bonus. The team at Republic Services needs your skills, and they're paying up to $5,000 for you to join the roster. You'll be joining a winner. As an essential business, the Republic Services trucks have not stopped rolling with hourly and weekly pay and better benefits and vacation packages than the rest of the league. Driver trainees, $1,000 sign-on bonus. CDL drivers, $3,000. Diesel mechanics, $5,000 bonus. Join the winning team at Republic Services today. Visit republicservices.com.
Equal opportunity employer.
We're certainly facing interesting economic times. For me, it's comforting to know my money's in good hands with ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. Experience? Yeah, that's Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reed Wingate. They have the expertise and knowledge to take care of your money. For more info, go to itppartners.com. ITP Partners, they're my financial partners for life.
Non-compensated client testimonial may not be representative of all client experiences. No guarantee of future performance or success.
You survived the cold, and it's time to heat up your spring with a cigar tasting of Perdomo cigars. Join Tobacco Cove Saturday, February 22nd from 1 to 4 p.m. for a tasting extravaganza featuring Perdomo cigars rolled in Nicaragua. Food, drinks, and specials on cigars. This is your chance to experience the quality and value Perdomo offers. Tobacco Cove on Bay Meadows Road. More than a cigar store, it's an experience.
Hi, it's Ben, second generation from Beards Diamonds. Guys, if you're popping a question soon, looking for an anniversary gift, before you buy anywhere, shop Beards. From a half carat to 10 carats, Beards will beat any competitor's price.
In the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Helmets and Heels is switched on by
First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor on 1010XL.
Admit that the waters around you have grown, and accept it that soon you'll be drenched to the bone. If your time to you is worth saving, then you better start swimming or you'll sink like a stone. For the times they are a-changing.
I had RJ play this Bob Dylan tune because the Yankees have finally realized that the times they are a-changing. The Yankees have changed their facial hair policy, and they will now allow, quote, well-groomed beards, end quote. I'm not sure who's happiest about this, but maybe Garrett Cole, maybe some other guys that like to grow their facial hair.
I mean,
I'm sure there's several.
Like,
maybe the ladies that are Yankees fans that have
I was about to say,
Jason
like,
Giambi is somewhere
beards.
punching the air right now. Like, you made me shave my hair. Look, like, I just hope Hal Steinbrenner, you know, he took all the time to send out this nice statement and the nice graphic. I just hope he finally got Derek Jeter's phone number, because he didn't have that at last check. I don't really care as the resident Yankees fan on this program. Like, I've been indifferent to it. I've thought it was antiquated since I was 8 years old, and it's never bothered me any which way. If anything, it's just kind of like, oh, here we go again. And that was during the time when I was 8 years old. Like, that was before George Steinbrenner obviously ultimately succumbed to illness and then eventually passed away. So he was at his peak of his powers. And, like, again, for those of you who may be listening and maybe are too young to remember those times, like, he was Jerry Jones before Jerry Jones in more ways than one. And yes, there's certainly differences between the two. I don't want to just, lump them both together. But that's who he was. His sons are not. It honestly shocks me, Lauren, that it took this long. And again, that's where I'll make the joke that maybe Hal didn't realize the policy was in place. It took this long to even rescind the facial hair policy.
Well, sometimes you don't want to upset your parents, even, I would just say, in the case of even if your parents aren't alive, but you wanted to hold their wishes. And so maybe it's that, and maybe it's more just, we are in 2025, and a lot has changed. We talked yesterday about how much college football has changed in just the last 4 to 5 years. But certainly this is something that I feel like it's been in the works for a while. I feel like a year ago you started to hear that it could possibly change. And again, it doesn't affect whether or not the Yankees are going to win the World Series, but I found it fascinating.
I have multiple feelings on this because, number one, I love beards. I love facial hair. So to me, my first reaction was like, oh, heck yeah. Like, we get that you don't have to be this weirdo that's like not letting your players have the facial hair. But I also get the aspect of it is like tradition. And for some organizations that go as far back as the Yankees, the Red Sox, like, and then when we're talking about the hockey world and you're talking about the Red Wings and the Blackhawks and all that, they have certain traditions that do feel at times outdated, but it's hard to completely let those go because in the 20s, this is things that were going on, and you want to hold on to you're one of the few ones that started a lot of the things, so you want to be the person to be like, no, we still want to keep these certain traditions, even though they're outdated.
I also think it's going away as well.
Yeah, like it's a Yankees thing, and Tony Smith came in my office today, and he's like, what world are we living in where the Yankees can have a beard? And it is weird because that's always been kind of a funny thing if someone gets traded to the Yankees that has a beard, and you're like, can't wait to see him on opening day without a freaking beard.
Not
and
a
now
Duck
it's gone.
Dynasty beard. You can't have a Duck Dynasty beard.
Yeah,
it has to be well groomed.
I honestly,
I wonder what are they gonna do.
I'm mad at myself.
That one's a little rough. You haven't shaved it in a couple days.
I'm mad at myself that my default was Jason Giambi. Hell, I missed the Johnny Damon boat. Like that's probably the most noteworthy. That it was like, oh my God, the luscious locks.
Yes.
Like goodbye forever.
It was like hair flip.
Because he went from the Red Sox to the Yankees, but you shouldn't do that anyway. I don't like going rival to rival in any sport.
Which there's been a lot of that in the last like 15, 20 years, which whatever. 903, the Yankees are about to sign Vlad Jr. next year. Well, I mean, maybe, possibly. I just hope Vlad's got a good dietitian and nutrition plan this offseason. That's all I got to say about that because no one like Vladito quite fluctuates in that department, but he's a great player. He's an all-star. So
we have several weight loss companies on 1010.
Let's get Vlad with Awaken 180. I like that idea, Lauren. I will say this with the joke about pinstripes. Our friend of the program, Jake Asman, tweeted this out. Also a lifelong Yankees fan, of course, works for ESPN New York. I was always indifferent about the beard policy. Thought it was a cool tradition. No issue with the players having beards. The one tradition that should never change, no names on the back of the jersey. That is sacred. Mm-hmm. And I know you feel the same way, Taylor, with Notre Dame.
Which they did in the playoffs, and it was weird.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why there
but
are...
in the NIL world, it helps you to have your name on the back of your jersey.
And that's what I had a conversation with our media group chat, and Graham Marsh was saying that, like, now that it's NIL, your name does mean something, and which I get, but to me, it's just part of, again, it's the tradition part of it to where it's like, okay, this has been something that's happened for so long, and it's about playing for the name on the front of your jersey, not the name on the back. And I like that and I respect it. But yeah, now we're in this world where someone's getting paid for their name, and so
they've got their not just their last name, they've got their Twitter handle, they've got the Venmo number. I'm just kidding. Like
there's like a little
I'm gonna put
scan
my Venmo
code
in my car.
What's a QR code on their jersey?
Right. There are QR codes on some jerseys because it's like their whole like you scan it and then you get their player profile
Someone
page.
just heard Scantron and went to get their number 2 pencil sharpened and then
trauma
said,
from
wait,
FCAT.
Exactly. That is serious trauma. One other sports note, non-football related, the U.S. lost last night to Canada in overtime. I will say this, not a hockey household whatsoever, but how do you leave the best player in Connor McDavid that wide open? Like, we were at the UNF JU men's basketball game, River City Rumble at UNF, and was able to get the third period like right on my phone in the car on the way home, and then we turned it on the TV, watched obviously the rest of the third period, and then overtime. Like, how is he that wide open? I mean,
that was
definitely
Austin Matthews screwed up a lot towards the end of that game. He missed like multiple open shots, and then that was on him too, leaving McDavid open. So that is something, the best player in hockey right now. What are you doing? So that was.
Were they running out of gas?
I think honestly, to me, the whole time they weren't totally like, and I think part of it was Brady Tkachuk was not 100%. There was 7 minutes of time where he was just sitting on the bench, so you could tell he wasn't 100%. They lost McAvoy, so that was another big part of their success early on in this. So there was a lot of factors that I think they just didn't have the full manpower that they wish they would have had in this game, and I think it felt like they were off the whole game. In the attack zone, they were just kind of very lackadaisical, and it didn't look like there was any flow when they were coming to pat. They were turning over the puck a ton. It was kind of it definitely didn't feel like they were 100% when it came to, and I don't know if that's all injury or if that's just, to your point, they were tired by the end of it, but it definitely felt like for the whole thing, to me, I was texting my friends and I'm like, it just doesn't feel like they're all on the same page. And I think some of that is losing one in McAvoy, but then not having Tkachuk and a large portion of that too. And it sucked. I will say in the beginning, when Canada brought out Gretzky, I was like, oh no. Like, I was like, how do we even match this? But then obviously they brought out the goal, Erozione, and he comes out with a Johnny Gaudreau jersey. And I was like bawling on my couch watching this. And I was like, what an emotional moment, because he comes out, first of all, it's the captain from the U.S. Olympic championship team coming out in a Johnny Gaudreau jersey. And I was like, okay, they matched it. They matched that moment. It's really hard to match a Wayne Gretzky moment, but they definitely came out. And so that made me emotional. But at the same time, that's what these type of things are about. And that's why that the country element does add so much, because there's so many things that are involved in sport in general. But when you add your nation to it, it's a whole other level.
It felt like a mini Olympics,
it did,
but just with hockey.
Yeah.
And that was awesome. Again, for the people who aren't hockey fans like me, who was locked in and nervous almost as it was going to overtime. And then obviously too, whether it's soccer or hockey, like the golden goal, it just adds such an extra element. I hate when it's any sort of extra time and it's not golden goal.
And that's where, and I know the boys on the drill said it this morning, and it's so true, Gary Bettman gets a lot of flack as being one of the worst commissioners in professional sports. He got this one right though, folks. Yeah. And I can't help but wonder, if you are the NBA, because I don't know if you can do it with the NFL, but with the NBA, do you look at this model and do you say, can we emulate it in some form or fashion?
You have to try and find something. Like, you have to look and say, there's some way where you can add this extra level of dedication to something that people love, and the nation's obviously one of those things. But I will say also, this is going to make next year's Winter Olympics insane to add this element, because now it's going to be a year away from this, and the USA is going to be like, we got to win this. It's been a long time since they've won that head-to-head against Canada. So
absolutely. All right, it's a feel-good Friday. On the other side, we have a pair of tickets to go see the Orlando Magic. So be listening to 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Where is he? Where did he go?
Where's he going? 1010XL.
Mia here. You want to know what I'm so over? Resolutions. I mean, you're just kind of setting yourself up for a letdown, right? But you want to know what I am into? The Revolution. Hitting the road in a new Toyota from Arlington Toyota. So what do you say? Join the Arlington Toyota Revolution and save big with financing as low as 0% on select new models. 0%. Or join the Revolution with up to $8,500 off select new Toyotas. I like saving $8,500, don't you? Plus, every new purchase from Arlington Toyota comes with Arlington's lifetime warranty. That's unlimited time and miles. And Arlington's 60-day exchange program. That's 60 days to love your new Toyota purchase or exchange it for one that you do. Now's the time to save big and join the Revolution in a new Toyota from Arlington Toyota. Shop in person on Atlantic Boulevard, just a quarter mile east of 295, or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/0% for full details.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Joe C. for Hard Rock Bet. Football season may be over, but there's plenty of action everywhere else. Not sure what to bet on? Check out the Discover page at Hard Rock Bet. You can download the app or head to hardrock.bet. College basketball, we're closing in on the biggest tournament of the year. Don't go in blind. Bet on the action today. Hard Rock Bet. Download the app. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Bull riding. The perfect fusion of strength, skill, and pure willpower. Professional bull riders aren't just athletes. They're daredevils with cowboy souls. Come experience the true modern West, where 8 seconds of glory will create a lifetime of memories. It's the Michelob Ultra PBR Jacksonville at ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, February 22nd and 23rd. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com and PBR.com. Hold on tight. The ride of your life is about to begin.
The First Tee Tour Card is back for 2025 and better than ever, with access to over 15 of North Florida's best courses and new this year, local participating businesses. This card is your ticket to saving hundreds. First Tee North Florida is a local nonprofit who build character in youth participants through the game of golf. This annual fundraiser enables this amazing organization the ability to build game changers. Grab your tour card for just $99 at tourcard.org for a list of participating partners, benefits, and restrictions.
When it comes to towing products, your safety is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
Ackerman Urology is now servicing the World Golf Village area. If you have elevated PSA, prostate, bladder, or kidney issues, plan to see the experts at Ackerman Urology right away. Their new location off I-95 at International Golf Parkway.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys locksmith service.
Tired of seeing the signs of aging in the mirror, fine lines, sun damage, redness? They don't have to be part of your future. I'm Dr. Mark Capel, a board-certified dermatologist, and I can help you look and feel your best without invasive surgery or painful treatments. Imagine rejuvenating your skin in a relaxing, comfortable environment with minimal to no downtime. Smooth out fine lines, even skin tone, and restore that youthful glow. Find out how to look and feel your best at dermagnify.com. Dermagnify.com.
Craft beers, food trucks, live music, and more beer at the Riverside Craft Beer Festival this Sunday afternoon at Riverside Arts Market. Get your tickets at riversidecraftbeerfestival.com. Proceeds benefit Community Peds Care and the Rotary Foundation.
When you're experiencing sudden, unexpected dental pain, the last thing you want to hear is that your dentist can't see you until next week. That's why I'm so glad I found Harbor Dental Care. Whenever I call, they always find a way to see me within 24 hours, and they can usually fix whatever's wrong the same day. Plus, they have locations throughout Jacksonville, so no matter what side of town I'm on, I can always count on the same great care. If you want to find a dentist who believes in treating people right, learn more at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
Yo, it's your boy E to the T here, and I know that getting into an accident is stressful, but getting the proper care doesn't have to be. That's why I recommend McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center. Even if you're at fault, your insurance covers you. And remember, you have the right to choose your own doctor. Even a minor accident can cause whiplash for years if it goes untreated. So don't wait. Call the auto accident experts at McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation. Your recovery starts today.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update, brought to you by First Coast YMCA. UNF men's basketball swooped to victory, taking Game 2 of the River City Rumble 77-73 and completing the sweep over the JU Dolphins this season. UNF was led by Josiah Miles, who scored 20 points. UNF head coach Matthew Driscoll loves how his team was able to pass the ball around, crediting their 16 total assists to win the game last night.
Our guys, it's credit. We flipped it to start the second half. I think we got 10 out of 15 stops, got up 8 or 10, whatever it was. And just like every team, you know, it's really, really difficult to continue to do that, to hold on to that. And they're obviously a very good team. They're upper-level team in the league right now. And to our guys' credit, they fought through that. We continue to play the way we play. We shared the sugar really well with 16 assists.
North Florida will next travel to take on the FGCU Eagles Monday at 7. It's 50 degrees at 1 o'clock time and temp, brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Wow! I feel good.
It's a feel-good Friday.
We're gonna have a good time together.
And that would be good.
So good!
Text or tweet something that makes you feel good today.
I hear good things. Really good things.
Cheers to the freaking weekend. Drink to the
As promised, we have a pair of tickets to go see the Magic tonight. That's right, the Orlando Magic play host to the Memphis Grizzlies, and we've got a pair of tickets for you. RJ, you get to be the decider of which caller number. Which caller number do you want?
As we lucky caller number 1, 641-1010, 2 tickets yours to the Orlando Magic game as they host the Memphis Grizzlies.
I love it.
RJ's like, I'm answering one line.
That's right. Yeah, not 17 like the other day. That is the host of Open Gym that has those tickets for you. Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, Jay Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you on this Feel Good Friday. And we are joined by Molly McDonald, who you just heard in the update. Molly's first Feel Good Friday with us. Molly, what is making you feel good this Friday?
Feel good this Friday. Going to Tampa this weekend.
Ooh. Okay, is this the Kelsey Ballerini concert weekend?
Yeah,
Yay.
seeing her tomorrow, so that's exciting.
Very fun.
Is it your first time seeing her?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Kelsey Ballerini song?
Oh,
do you have a favorite?
That's a good question. She sings a lot of sad music.
She does. She's the one who went through
Speaking
a
of
divorce.
Feel Good Friday,
Yeah, but she seems to be doing a lot better. So.
Yeah. Thank goodness. Carly Pierce also went through a divorce, and her music, I feel like, drastically changed too.
I feel like her next album will probably be drastically different because she's the one that's with the guy from
Chase Stokes. Yeah, that's what happens. You go through divorce, get a little sad, then you rebound, then you get happy again. Molly, I was there last night for UNF playing host to JU. UNF won 77-73. You just played some sound from Coach Matthew Driscoll. What's one thing you like about the Ospreys, as you are oftentimes the sideline reporter for them?
I think they are playing better defensively, and that is something that before the game last time, talking to their assistant coach, was something that he stressed a lot, was playing better defensively. So I think as long as they continue that track, they could be being better, one of the better teams.
Yeah, and they punched their ticket to the A-Sun this week. So that's huge. And then the confidence of being at home last night, the arena was electric, as it usually is for the Rumble. I was there in 2015 when UNF played host to, I want to say, I can't remember, was it Kennesaw State? Who was it that UNF ended up beating in the A-Sun championship in order to get to the NCAA tournament?
Oh, it would have. No, they're no longer. I think it was like Belmont. It's somebody who's who's
I don't
no longer.
I was there for that, and that was a packed out UNF arena. So you can imagine how many people were there. But thank you so much for joining us, Molly.
Thank you.
And she'll be joining us all the time, hanging out after her updates as we chat all things life and sports. So I'll begin with my Feel Good Friday. Live music this weekend. I'm hoping for both live music Saturday and Sunday. It fits perfectly in the schedule for Saturday because the men's basketball team for the University of Florida does not compete against LSU until 6 p.m. So the live music, Taylor, you might be there as well, would be like 4:40 to 5:40 there at the Seawalk Music Festival. And then on Sunday, some live music as well with friends. That's going to be fantastic because there's no football.
Yeah.
So I need, in
What else
addition
are you
to
gonna do?
I mean, I have
With
a lot,
music
I
is the
have a lot of
second
other
favorite.
sports to watch for sure, with gymnastics and baseball and all the things. But yeah, I need some live music in my life after football season ends.
It does look like it'll be nice this weekend too, because Saturday it's like 63 and sunny, Sunday 64 and sunny, so that's nice. I know some people would like it a little warmer, but that like mid 60s and sunny usually actually feels really nice, especially when you're outside.
Just give us the sunshine when we had all that rain on Wednesday.
Yeah, I know. And I feel like our weather has been kind of strange, but I love live music. If it's not a sporting event that I'm going to, it's probably some sort of concert, show, whatever it may be. So yes, not sure I'll be at both, but probably one of those I'll be at.
Taylor has to pick and
I do
choose.
actually. I've been wanting to go to the zoo for a while because I love the zoo. I love animals. And so I was kind of debating doing that Saturday because I was like, it's perfect weather to walk around the zoo right now too. So I may do that, but I'll do my Feel Good Friday, and it's touching upon something I talked about a minute ago with the Johnny Gaudreau thing. But I saw a video that someone recorded that was at the game, and the USA, after that second goal that they scored, they started chanting Johnny Hockey. And that moment, like I said, the start of the game was already emotional, but to see an entire arena, I'm sure that's emotional for his family to all watch also, and former teammates, or just the hockey world in general, because that's one thing. We talk about how tight the NFL world is. The hockey world is very tight. Like, everybody knows someone who's done a hockey camp at some point, or has played on this rec league and this rec league hockey team at some point. And so to see that those two brothers, who, if you don't know, obviously were tragically killed, a drunk driver hit them when they were cycling and losing
right before their sister's wedding.
Yes,
but
terrible.
I do feel bad that because Johnny was the better hockey player, he's the one who
They're
gets
chanting
recognized.
Johnny Hockey.
And Matthew, who also unfortunately lost his life the same same time. Like, I feel like he's like the forgotten brother.
Yeah, but they do say Gaudreau brother, so at least it's like in this sense. But yeah, they're chanting Johnny Hockey at this USA Canada. But yeah, that's my feel good because that moment just as we've talked, I've dealt with a lot of loss this last year and a half. So seeing people just kind of continue to like recognize and remember people after they're gone is always fun. Like it's comforting.
Sure, absolutely. Everyone deals with grief differently. Yeah. And for some people, to bring it to the forefront is helpful and to have that celebration of life. Mia, what you got? Games?
Yes, we got games. We've always got games. My group chat of my gal pals from growing up playing soccer, like the other day we were talking and they're like, can you stop working? And I'm like, it's nature of the beast. But no, I do want to also plug the text line Design My Lifetime Enclosures because a couple of you have submitted your Feel Good Fridays, and we'd love to see more of them. 904-641-1010, the number to reach us at. Get it in the spirit and send us what is making you feel good on this Friday. From the 240 up in Maryland, I feel good that the GM search is coming to an end. And so I will echo those sentiments. It's so funny, and I actually said this to a contemporary with our friends at Barrett Sports Media this morning. I was like, I feel like the combine and the draft process has kind of snuck up on so many of us because the last 6-7 weeks have just been, a roller coaster. And so, yes, feeling good that there will be closure. Now just a matter of, will it be another 11:30 p.m. news drop? Will the news start leaking out as soon as we get off the air? Hopefully not, because we want those of you who didn't get a chance to listen to Jordan Rodriguez's interview to listen to it with fresh eyes and a fresh perspective.
Friday news dump. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah, 5 o'clock. So maybe it's that. We will
they usually don't work in normal hours, though.
Yeah. So we're open to whatever. But yes, JU women's lacrosse looking for their first victory of the season against Towson this afternoon. And then the JU women's team, I believe it is officially, which is crazy because it's February 22nd tomorrow. But tomorrow is technically senior night for them, or senior day, I guess, in the afternoon. And so I'll be on the call of that as well. I have some friends coming in from out of town, which I was just telling you guys, getting the updates that they're going to the airport. So so they're on the way. And so that should be a lot of fun to spend some time with them, too. And then, they go to the airport Monday morning, and I'll be back at the airport after work on Monday afternoon.
By the way, I couldn't remember who North Florida beat in 2015 for the ASUN championship. USC Upstate.
That's who it was.
I knew they weren't in the ASUN anymore, but I just could not remember. And Kennesaw State's no longer
I think
in the ASUN
somebody
because of football.
tweeted. I mean, sent it on the text line. I didn't know what they were saying.
You thought they were going to upstate South Carolina for their Feel Good Friday, potentially. I think this week has been great because Tuesday got to be at JU for JU playing host to Florida in baseball. Last night, obviously, the electricity that is the River City Rumble. Yes, it's not football season, but there's so much other stuff going on. I don't have every team that's in it as far as the playoffs for basketball, for boys and girls high school basketball, but I did
coming up.
They're I think the state semifinals are right around the corner. I do have all the teams that are in the soccer playoffs,
which that is Final Four territory.
Yes.
So we're gonna hold off till Final Four territory.
Yeah, and like I said, the basketball might be already there, but I have more of the soccer background, so that's what I went with. So Bartram Trail yesterday shut out Land O'Lake Sun Lake 1-0. So that means Bartram Trail is in the Class 6A Girls State Soccer Championship. That is tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Bartram Trail is second as far as seeding. The number one team is who they'll take on in St. Thomas Aquinas. I've never liked St. Thomas Aquinas, so you go Bartram Trail.
I didn't even grow up in Florida, and I hated St. Thomas Aquinas. Like, that's all you need to know.
Exactly. Ponte-Vedra's 5A state title game is tomorrow at 1 o'clock. That's at Lourdes. And then as far as the 1A, St. John's Country Day does take on... who do they play? South Florida Heat. I thought that was like a
club team.
I thought that was a club team, but it's not. On Wednesday at 7 p.m. That's next week. That's 1A. And then Episcopal in the 2A state semifinals takes on Ransom Everglades on Thursday. Again, that's next week at 7 p.m. It's interesting to me that the 1A, 2A is behind the larger schools. Like you would, for some reason in my mind, you'd think 1A, 2A would be ahead of the larger schools ones, but it's the reverse. So either way, the ones tomorrow, like I said, for Bartram Trail, for Ponte-Vedra, good luck to them. And then next week, St. John's and Episcopal. And then in boys soccer, Taylor's alma mater, Mandarin beat Oviedo 1-0. That's right. In the 6A state semis yesterday, their championship game is tomorrow at 4 o'clock. And in 1A, St. Joseph's, that's, you know, who's alma mater, Josie's. They take on Canterbury in the state semis Wednesday at 10 a.m. That one's in DeLand. So just wanted to give everybody a little bit of an update on things going on around town. I'll give you our, go ahead.
I have a quick basketball note for you. I know we're going to do the Terminex Pest of the Day and also debrief finally after I went on my nice little Imagine tangent about our friend Betty. We are finally going to recap for you the River City Rumble as well as some other basketball noteworthy news. We didn't even get to it yesterday. Alabama knocked off by Mizzou.
Yeah.
I was first. I had Mizzou ranked in the top 10. I was one of 3 AP voters who had them ranked in the top 10. I just would like to
partially because Missouri beat Florida.
Exactly. And I told you that. I said strength of schedule. And also Dennis Gates not only does have those boys playing some great basketball, but he's got the fans sitting in their seats and saying, I don't care that we just beat the number 4 team in the country. Do not storm the court. Love Dennis Gates.
They want him back in Tallahassee since he was an assistant of Leonard Hamilton's. But I don't think you leave Missouri in the SEC to go to Florida State.
Not exactly for basketball. But Dennis Gates is a finalist he's one of 15 finalists for the Naismith Mid-Season Coach of the Year. I don't know. We give a
Only mid-season and we're almost to March.
Maybe, but John Fanta, I think you got to reword this tweet. I think it's for the Naismith Coach of the Year.
That would make more sense.
This is mid-season. This is the
He's
top
just letting
15.
you know, like halfway through the season, even though we're not only halfway.
There's only a few games left in the regular season, but Todd Golden amongst that.
Yeah,
list.
that was the point I was going to make. Todd Golden is on the list as well. Don't you worry, Gator fans.
Absolutely, yes. The Terminex Pest of the Day is next, and we will talk some hoops as well. You are listening to 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Ever wonder if Rick Ballou has an alternate identity?
Paddy O'Brien.
He'll never tell.
Ex-Irish assassin.
Ballou.
Scotland Yard would love to get their hands on that.
Evenings.
They're always after me, Lucky Charms.
On 1010XL.
They are after me, Lucky Charms.
Don't miss the Players Championship, March 11th through 16th at TPC Sawgrass. This can't-miss event features a variety of activities for every fan to enjoy, from delicious bites to the Sawgrass Splash. There are endless fan enhancements that will make for a memorable experience. Plus, watch the top PGA Tour players, including back-to-back champion Scotty Scheffler, take on the iconic stadium course featuring the famous Island Green. Tickets available at theplayers.com.
Get a healthy start in 2025. The Florida Department of Health in Duval County is here to encourage you to get healthy and stay healthy this year. They have a dedicated team who are committed to providing quality care. The goal is to protect, promote, and improve the health of you and your family. Visit duval.floridahealth.gov to learn more about their health programs and services. That's duval.floridahealth.gov.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, pal, what's the matter?
I don't know about this air conditioner, Jason.
You know, my job is actually to...
I mean, 1 minute it's working, and the next minute it's not working. And every time I leave the house, I don't know if I'm coming back to a nice, cool oasis or a steaming cesspool of sweaty garbage fumes and dog farts, and then I'll never get to sleep. And I'll be too late to call someone. And what if I've got a big meeting the next morning and I haven't slept a wink?
Okay, dude. Stay cool. Or at least stay cooler.
But
Bueller Air and Plumbing can figure out why your AC only works sometimes and not all the time. We fix that kind of stuff every day.
You mean you can...
Life moves pretty fast. If you spend all your time worrying about an air conditioner that can totally be fixed, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Mia here since 1982. Closets by Design has specialized in creating dream spaces for every budget. My designer, Frances, made this process so easy. She came to my house and designed a walk-in closet that's not only beautiful, but incredibly functional for me and old Beau Valentine. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation at 1-800-293-3744 or visit closetsbydesign.com and take advantage of extended savings this month. Get 40% off and another 15% off with 18-month special financing. Closets by Design, 1-800-293-3744.
Hi, I'm Mark Hassan with The Players. The Players is proud to support Habit Jacks in their mission to bring people together to build safe, affordable homes, communities, and hope. Just 18 days until The Players.
3D
3D Digital has you covered for any of your business's digital marketing needs. From producing award-winning videos to getting those digital ads to follow your customers around the internet, our team has your back. Visit 3ddigital.com or give us a call at 904-712-4004 to schedule a free consultation today. 904-712-4004.
The First Coast Games is an annual team-building challenge to introduce fun activities into the workplace and focus on your employees' health and wellness goals. These goals include some friendly competition, of course, including pickleball, cornhole, volleyball, flag football, and other team sports. The games will begin in March. Register your company and teams at fcymca.org.
Hunters Know Patience is part of the game.
Just got to keep hunting.
Jeff Lageman, Captain Kevin Faber, and Captain Kirk Waltz on the Nimnicht Outdoors Show. Presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning. Saturday morning from 7 to 10 on 1010XL.
Hi, Jags fans. Walker Little here for my friends at Kingfish Pest Control. Playing offensive line in the NFL, I must block and protect on every down. When it comes to keeping my home pest-free, I expect that same level of protection. So I contacted Kingfish after seeing thousands of positive online customer reviews about their service. I can confirm from personal experience, bugs don't stand a chance getting past Kingfish Pest Control. Do what I did. Reach out to Kingfish Pest Control to protect your home, a proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and I tell you what, you got something really cool coming up, a Triumph Off-Road Day. Give us all the details.
We do. It's February 22nd. It's at North Florida Motocross Park up in Hilliard. We're going to be there from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. doing demo rides. Bring your gear and come ride a Triumph dirt bike.
And that means you can find out everything that Triumph has to offer off-road.
Absolutely. We will have the 250 and the new 450 ready to ride.
Check it out. All the details are on Cycles of Jacksonville's Facebook page.
Pick it here for Bow 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bow 9. Visit Bow 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bow 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Light up your lunch with Helmets and Heels.
Presented by First Coast Lighting and Fans.
On 1010XL.
I have loved this song for so long, and I'm really happy, I think I've said this before, that this song has made it to country radio. Dylan Marlowe, Dylan Scott. I've loved Dylan Marlowe for a couple years now. I still haven't seen him in concert yet, but Dylan Scott on this as well. I was informed that we have plans tomorrow, so I don't think I'll be hitting up the live music. But that's quite all right because the plans involve oysters.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I certainly can't complain. All right, today's Terminix Pest of the Day. It's going to go to late Friday Night Heights. I like my Friday Night Heights right at 7 o'clock, okay? That's every Friday night. That's what the schedule should be. I should have tonight number 5 Florida at number 1 Oklahoma in gymnastics at 7 p.m. for Friday Night Heights. But thanks to the SEC Network, I now have to wait until 9 o'clock tonight. SEC Network is my Terminix Pest of the Day. Some might say, well, at least you get to watch it on TV because, oh, by the way, a lot of the Florida softball games are not on TV. I can understand that. But again, this is my world. It's my Terminix Pest of the Day. And if you need any sort of help with pests, with termites, certainly you know by now. Visit Terminix.com, Terminix.com. And there's a reason that they handle Everbank Stadium, Daly's Place, ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, all of your favorite event venues around town because they do it right.
So today we've called out Safe security. We've called out
You
the mouse.
called safe security. I praised safe security.
I was about to say SEC is my pest of the day because they just constantly get on my nerves.
We're no one is safe.
Conference?
No, no. She's talking about Securities and Exchange Commission. Come on, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Nobody is safe on a Feel Good Friday.
We have some breaking news also, which I guess kind of breaking, but the Saints are hiring former Chargers head coach and 49ers assistant Brandon Staley as their DC. We've talked about this as that was kind of something expected, but Adam Schefter did just report that.
Yeah, it's official. They were finalizing their defensive staff interviews yesterday. That was like the final day to deliberate on that, and a hire that I know, Taylor, you had reported it, I had heard it as well, and we had both said it on the air, does come to fruition. Ditto to the Nussmeier hire as the offense coordinator, which is going to be a really cool storyline. Someone who's followed Kellen Moore to a couple different stops now, of course, is the father of Garrett Nussmeier, the quarterback at LSU.
Your guy.
And right. I mean, that's buy stock now, folks. Buy stock now. Garrett Nussmeier for Heisman next year, especially because now his dad's going to be coaching down the road in NOLA.
Yeah, some other news that I saw earlier today, college football related. Nebraska opted out of its deal to play Tennessee in a home-and-home series scheduled for 2026 and 2027.
They
And
opted out?
Yes, opted out. So they're no longer going to play Tennessee in the
So we can
home-and-home.
opt out of games now.
I mean, I guess in certain contracts that's always been an option, but I don't understand. I understand Nebraska's not great and all, but don't you get better by playing good teams?
Yeah.
And Tennessee certainly is good, but they're not the elite of the elite like in Ohio State or Georgia and Alabama, that kind of stuff. So, and Alabama, I think this is a huge year for Bama, but I just wanted to mention that
Speaking of throwing shade, by the way, Danny White's tweet. Did you see Danny White's tweet?
I did not.
Oh, yeah, Danny White.
But it won't surprise me.
The athletic director of Tennessee specifically wants you to know, Lauren.
He said Mike White's brother.
Tennessee did not cancel this series.
Correct.
Nebraska did. We are very disappointed. We wanted to play.
Yeah, that's Nebraska. Now Texas and USC all canceling their spring games, and now Nebraska canceling the home and home. We've seen this with one school recently canceled. What was it? LSU. Someone canceled with LSU. Who was that?
It was Georgia, but it was Georgia with Oklahoma, and it was because they were coming to the SEC.
But there was something I want to say with LSU where
I
someone
thought it was LSU at USC.
USC.
That's exactly who it was.
Yeah,
It
and
was
Lincoln.
USC.
Lincoln Riley
didn't
said
wanna
he.
do it.
Yeah.
The Big Ten.
They just look silly.
They scare money don't make money, and I guess they're making money, but they're scared. That's why they're going to go to Las Vegas, because that was also announced here in the last hour.
The Big Ten Media Days will be in Vegas. That'll be fun for them. Since you mentioned scared money don't make money, Billy Napier did hire an offensive coordinator.
Oh, yeah,
People have been clamoring for that for a long time. But really all he did was promote Titans coach Russ Callaway, who's now been promoted 3 times since he started with the Gators. He originally was a defensive intern when he was originally hired. And so Billy Napier's calling the plays. It's basically, someone that, yes, gets a promotion, gets the title, but it's not going to change the offense. And as we all know, the offense runs through DJ Lagway.
Yeah. And I know when I saw that, because it was something we talked about quite a bit.
Because Florida fans begged him
to hire
especially
somebody.
when the season first started, too, before Florida started to play better. But really, it was the defense that started to play a lot better.
Yeah, and that's what I think that when we go forward with this, DJ Lagway, when you feel like you have your quarterback in place that you can develop and continue to grow, that helps things. But even with this offensive coordinator position, and we talk about it in the NFL too, if you have a head coach who is offensive play calling, it does kind of feel like they're there to just like help a little, like, hey, here's my input on this specific play or whatever the case may be. So it's definitely Billy Napier's offense, and with the way that things went late with DJ Lagway and the offense in general, I feel like he was comfortable in that, but maybe he wanted to, this guy's been promoted many times, so he wanted to continue to grow his career, I guess.
Yeah, and you promote from within when you're comfortable with someone's personality, and also you do think maybe that they're going to get a job elsewhere, so that way they're able to stay with you. Although this time of year, I don't think Russ Callaway was going anywhere. All right, so circling back to the River City Rumble last night, now North Florida 8-8 in the A-Sun, JU 10-6 tied with Queens. The 2 teams at the top of the A-Sun standings, North Alabama and Lipscomb, both 12-4. Then you have Eastern Kentucky and Florida Gulf Coast at 11-5. I saw Scott Manzi, the voice of JU Dolphins. He tweeted out that if the season ended today, JU would start at Florida Gulf Coast to start the tournament, the A-Sun tournament. That would be tricky just because, like we've detailed, JU was up by 24 at home against Florida Gulf Coast, and then the Eagles came storming back.
The good news for the Finns is that they do close out the season at home. I alluded to, since I'll be on the call for the women's team tomorrow, they don't get to play at home that final week of the regular season. And so Jordan Mincy's team will be at home Monday against Eastern Kentucky and then home on Wednesday against Stetson. And so maybe that results in picking up some ground in the ASUN race for the number 1 through 4 seeds, because those are the ones that'll have those first round home games.
Yeah, and then UNF travels to Florida Gulf Coast on Monday. I heard Coach Driscoll talking with Frank and Hayes about that yesterday. Just, it's not an easy trip to Fort Myers and back and playing, 6 games in 15 days. And then UNF finishes the season on Wednesday playing host to Eastern Kentucky. So if you haven't gotten to see the Ospreys yet or the Dolphins yet, make sure you get out to these final games.
Did they give any? I didn't see it, and if I did, I apologize because I was prepping for the other games and working here. Did they give an official note as to why Stephon Payne didn't play the Andrew Jackson
haven't seen
center?
An official note.
Yeah, that's the one thing. If you are a JU fan, and I live with a UNF alum, and Kevin said to me, like, well, gutted that one out, and he asked me, like, did you think, like, it panned out?
It was a game of runs last night, by the way, which is always fun to see unless you're a coach or a diehard fan of either team. We're more casual observers.
Right,
but
so it was fun.
UNF started off, and it was at one point 19-10, and then JU came roaring back, and JU had
at least
a 20-5 run, which was wild because, again, JU at UNF, and so to have that kind of a surge was crazy. Then certainly UNF fought back. It was a 1-point game at the half with UNF, I want to say, leading by 1. And then, back and forth to finish the game.
But certainly JU not having their starting center, I think that impacted the game.
Of course.
And
especially
so,
on the board.
So if you are a JU fan, the hope is if he can get healthy, you have him here in the home stretch and then into the ASUN tournament, because that was a potential area of concern that we identified yesterday in the cool down, Lauren, for UNF, that Josh Harris, yes, he's probably going to make the all ASUN freshman team. And Matthew Driscoll once said he could be potentially the best freshman that they've ever had in their program. But he is still, I think he just turned 19 years old. He's 18, 19 years old. And they ask a lot of him. And he certainly answered the bell last night. But at the same time, you wonder if there had been more depth in the front court for JU, what sort of matchups could Jordan Mincy have actually rolled out there?
Yeah, and JU shot pretty well, which was good for them to see. Obviously, most people think of JU as a defensive team, UNF as an offensive team. But as we heard Molly say, that's one thing UNF has really tried to work on is more defense. And then, of course, that's also what JU has tried to work on the opposite end, is being able to score at a better clip than they have.
Shout out to Kendall Munson, by the way, who did step in for Steph Payne. His story is crazy. So he is one of the grad transfers that Jordan Mincy brought in this offseason by way of Portland State. And so he's from the Seattle area, but he was born in Chicago. He was playing at Portland State, had already entered the transfer portal, was looking anywhere, but his parents were planning on retiring to Florida. And JU pops in his inbox, and he said, "This has got to be fate, right? Like, you're bringing me, from the Pacific Northwest down to Florida." And so here he is now with JU.
Yeah, and I don't know the exact story of how Liam Murphy got here for UNF because, like we said yesterday, he's a grad student and came from Columbia. And it's funny, Mia, you say that. I was joking with Brian, also a UNF alum, and I was like, so who's smarter? Foye Oluokun from Yale or Liam Murphy from Columbia?
Or how about Josh Williams, the Jags GM finalist who also went to Columbia?
True. He was not at UNF Arena
Yes,
last
he was
night.
not in the house, but he was in Jacksonville on Wednesday. But point being, we got a lot of Ivy League. The brain trust, it's here in Jacksonville.
Since you mentioned that, when it comes to baseball, Florida State plays host to Penn. That game first pitch today, 5 p.m., speaking of Ivy League. And also UNF plays host to Brown at 6:30 p.m. Florida plays host to Dayton, 6:30, and JU plays host to Illinois State at 6. Sorry, Dayton and Illinois State.
Like, not the same.
Not quite the same level. That's all right. We've got one segment to go here on Helmets and Heels on a Feel Good Friday on 10 to Next on 92.5 FM.
Where winning begins.
Gentlemen, if you keep playing like this, I promise you, you will leave this field winners. Get in here!
1010XL.
That's what I'm talking about.
Value or flavor? Price or taste? Why choose when you can get both with everyday deals at Sunny's? Right now, you can get the pork big deal for $10, the pork and rib combo for $12, and all you can can eat ribs for just $19.99. Yep, you heard right. All your favorites are now available all day, every day. And that's why it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue. Local pitmasters since '68.
Mia O'Brien here for Pro Jacks Roofing. Here at the Superstation, we talk a lot about pros. Pro football, pro baseball, pro basketball, pro sports. But if you want a true pro when it comes to your roof, you should call Mike with Pro Jacks Roofing. Mike has been in the roofing biz for well over 25 years, and when you call, you don't get some recording. You get Mike himself. Find Mike Sell on ProJacksRoofingFL.com. That's ProJacksRoofingFL.com. Don't rely on the third stringer. Call in the starter with Mike at Pro Jacks Roofing.
David Lane here, and once again, I'm happy to share news of my success with back and knee surgeries at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. Whatever it is that's bothering you, take it from me. Simply set an appointment today at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists and let them help you get back to normal life. I'm certainly glad I did.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
This is Daytona, the awe-inspiring spectacle of Supercross, and the most challenging course to witness the air-catching, adrenaline-pumping, heart-pounding action unlike any other race in Florida. Daytona Supercross. The biggest names battle it out under the lights at the World Center of Racing. Don't miss it. The gate drops Saturday, March 1st. Secure your tickets and trackside access today at DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com.
Staying Alive, one night of the Bee Gees, a tribute like you've never seen before. Experience the songs and sights of a full Bee Gees playlist performed live. March 6th at Jack Center for the Performing Arts. Tickets at fscjartistseries.org.
We don't have too many cold nights on the First Coast, but when the temperature drops, you want to hit the heat button and warm up. That's where Florida Home comes in. They're the AC experts in Jacksonville, and the importance of keeping your heating system in good working order is really important. If it stops working when it gets cooler, Florida Home will leap into action and provide you with the best solution. Heater and heat pump repair service and new system installation. They do it all. Just call Florida Home AC at 777-4300, the official heating and AC partner of the Jaguars.
I'm Hacker, and I'll get you more Gator chomps during the Gator Bites podcast presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. New episodes drop every Friday. Get Gator Bites where you find podcasts and at 1010XL.com.
Everyone seems to be in a time crunch these days. Well, don't forget you can always count on the cold case at Daly's. Always convenient, always cold. Whether it's the king of beers, Natty Light, Stella, or Cigar City, the Goose Island or Bud Light Seltzer. Dash into Daly's and grab one to go.
SportsForecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web. Precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At SportsForecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. SportsForecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
Hi, I'm Karen, owner of Clay Solar Installation Partners, your local women-owned solar company. At Clay Solar, we're more than just panels and power. We're about people. We make the switch to clean energy simple, stress-free, and built to last. If you've had a bad experience with solar in the past, we can help. We specialize in dependable solutions and top-notch customer service, so you can finally enjoy the savings and sustainability you deserve. Schedule your free consultation at claysolar.com.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
No matter what the reason, sending a floral arrangement from Kuhn Flowers always works. For unique and special gifts, visit their showroom on Beach Boulevard. ET here with 1010XL. Kuhn Flowers is my go-to, and it should be yours too. Online at kuhnflowers.com.
With 50 years of fabrication expertise in towing products, the family at Cannons of Jacksonville can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
New and pre-owned firearms are in stock at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach. Want a new sidearm or rifle? Brands like Kimber, Smith & Wesson, 6 Hour, Beretta. No lines, no hassle. Only at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
Okay, so true story, folks. Last night, right before the Ethan Waugh photo was tweeted out of the 4th finalist interview, the 4th walking down a hallway with Tony Baselli photo that we have seen from the Jaguars social channels this week, Kevin and I took a straw poll. We didn't put any money on it, but we just took a little poll, a little bet, if you may. Would, in the same vein as John Eric Sullivan, would James Gladstone have sneakers on when he interviewed to become the Jaguars' next general manager? He has not been named, folks. I'm just saying his interview has been completed. The Jaguars just tweeted it out. No sneakers.
No sneakers.
Matching tie, a full tie, or not matching tie, matching suit. Matching suit.
Sports coat and pants, yeah.
No tie.
Correct.
Shock your mock, evaluate my, rate my mock draft, rate the fit. What do we think of the fit?
I like the fit. I like this is like one of my, honestly, favorite color suits that he has on. So it looks clean, it looks nice, but not like too much, you know?
I appreciate that Tony is not going with any of the suits. Attire.
Tony's just in his Jag stuff.
Tony's
and so that's like,
what if he was in like full jersey? He's like his full uniform.
Well, he is so intimidating as a 6'7" man that once weighed over 300 pounds, certainly doesn't anymore. That all the interviews he's looking down. I really think Ethan Waugh might be the tallest of all the 5 finalists.
Cunningham was pretty close.
Yeah.
I remember that one, but I don't remember if
line. Yeah, I mean Ian did.
Yeah.
I'm glad for Tony Baselli. I'm glad for Liam Cohen. I'm glad for Shad Khan that these 5 in-person interviews are complete. And with travel plans to the Combine to be speaking on Tuesday, they have just a few days in order to get all their ducks in a row. And so, Mia, I do wonder, let's say the person is named this evening. I wonder if there's a press conference tomorrow for the GM to be able to speak to the local contingent before they head to Indianapolis, because I know not every beat writer goes to Indy.
Yeah, it's coming. We'll see what happens. I would like to think that there would be an availability ahead of time. I don't know when or where that will be, but I would think there would be. I am still far more curious, Lauren, about the height factor. I'm looking at all these side by side, and I do think that one James Gladstone is taller than we give him credit for. And I also think that Ian Cunningham is definitely taller.
Ian Cunningham is
because John
way
Eric
closer to his
Sullivan
height.
looks just like tiny compared to Tony. And maybe it's the angle walking through the Miller Electric Center.
That's certainly part of it. But I mean, for me, if we're not going to worry about arm
We're
length,
only picking who we want by their height.
Right. If we're not going to worry about arm
Exactly.
length for the prospects, then we're not caring about the height of the general manager. The interesting part is that the clock is ticking. Like I said, I mean, they will speak at the
ticking.
Combine. This new GM will speak at the Combine on Tuesday at 11:30. I say new GM. It could be interim general manager Ethan Waugh, like we just discussed. But if it is a new person, then it's a quick turnaround.
It is very, because, and I know we talked about this a few weeks ago when Liam Cohen was officially hired and we started saying, okay, now it's kind of time to look ahead at the general manager hiring. And I mentioned how I'm like, you're not crazy worried in the aspect of them not knowing free agents and draft, because they're knee high in it with their organization that they're in right now. This has been something that these guys have already been definitely in the works with their own organization. The interesting part is now you are 6 days away from, or I guess 6 days away from the Combine, where this team, how familiar are you with the Jaguars themselves? Because you also, if you're still working for this team, you've been in the trenches with what that team's needs are, what that team's roster looks like. So this is a fast turnaround for whatever general manager is coming in here. And I do think that it is important to, obviously, Tony Baselli being around, what they do if Ethan Waugh does not get the general manager job. Do they try and keep Ethan Waugh around as an assistant GM, or just to kind of get them through the draft process since he's been here? That will be interesting, because this will be, whoever comes in here has 6 days to really look at this roster and go in depth of what they want to see and need and have.
I promise I'm not just here for jokes, but another thing that we discussed last night when we were taking our bets on if James Gladstone would have sneakers on. So he's here. He does the interview. He's obviously a finalist. Are the Jaguars going to fly him back to California? Or if you're James Gladstone, do you pack an extra bag to prepare?
I would guess that he had an inkling, if it's Gladstone, not one of the other candidates.
Mm-hmm.
If you're the last interview, you have a good inkling. Yes, you pack for the combine in addition to these interviews, because I don't think it makes a lot of sense to go 3 hours, or really on a plane 5 hours west, to then come back 5 hours east, to then go north to Indy. And yes, it can be done. It's just, if it was me, I certainly would have packed with the optimism, or the optimistic view that I'm going to get this job, right? Like, you have that confidence going in, and you see the vision, and that way you can execute the vision. Does this person know that much about the current Jaguars roster? Does this person know that much about the current Jaguars coaching staff?
Yeah.
I mean, those are going to be some of the questions that I feel like NFL media is going to ask on Tuesday.
And that's where I think that you will see, certainly unlike his former bosses in Todd Bowles and Sean McVay, who lately have not gone to the NFL Combine in Indianapolis. Now, certainly once upon a time they both did, but they have not recently. I do think not only will Liam Cohen be on site for an extended period of time, I think you're going to see as many people as possible from the Jaguars organization there, because it does represent not only one of the biggest networking weeks of the year, to be certain, but it's also one of the biggest, like, hey, everyone in the NFL is in one locale for 1 week of time, and it is very jarring when you're sitting in a restaurant and you look to your right and like, oh, Andy Reid's just like sitting there.
Yeah.
But the NFL takes over that city for that week, and it offers up the opportunity with so many restaurants and meeting areas to potentially have those bonding moments. And so I'm very curious to see how many boots on the ground the Jaguars provide when it comes to this upcoming week in Indy.
Well, and I also am surprised because, I've been there. Everyone's rubbing elbows with everyone else. So I'm surprised that the Rams treat it differently than most organizations, most franchises, because there is not that opportunity outside of the combine for every NFL personnel to be there.
So here is the quote from Les Snead, that he said that the Rams would have a less traditional footprint in Indianapolis, but they do still value the combine. Maybe that's where, to bring this show full circle, maybe that's where Jordan Rodriguez, the intangibles, the personality test, and all the special strategies that the Rams have implemented over the last few years, maybe that's where that comes into play. And because they value much more bringing in prospects to their facility, they have other benchmarks and guardrails within the confines of the NFL Combine week, but it's not perhaps the biggest priority in their scouting process.
Every team obviously does it differently. I would love to take that personality test. That's why I asked Jordan if she got to take it. It would be fascinating to see through an NFL prism, an NFL team prism, what they make of each of our personalities, right? And how they decide what definition, what the criteria is of a Ram. We've talked about this. What is the definition or criteria of a Jaguar? Lately, it's been collapsing.
Yeah.
Like that's been if you want to be
hasn't been the personality trait you want to be linked to.
Yeah, if you are weak in the face of adversity, come on down
you
to
are a
Jacksonville.
Jaguar.
You can play football here. Who do you think it is as we sit here now, ladies? Who do you think it is as far as the Jaguars' new GM?
I mean, I've said all along this was a 2-horse race between Ian Cunningham and James Gladstone. I do think Gladstone has certainly picked up some speed in the process, has certainly gained ground on Cunningham. I put it earlier this week. I think I had Ian at like plus 180 and Gladstone at like plus 260. I'd probably lean a little bit more like plus 180 Gladstone, plus 190 Cunningham at this point.
Yeah, I'm leaning Gladstone now. I was pretty confident in Ian Cunningham for a while, but within the last few days talking to people in both worlds, I've started to shift heavily towards Gladstone, honestly.
It's interesting. I really like John Eric Sullivan and the Packers' history that he has there, the winning organization that they are. But he certainly did not seem to gain, and whether it's just social media or whether it's people you talk to, but he didn't seem to gain a ton of traction. I really thought that he would, especially because he wasn't one of those first interview requests. So I thought, well, maybe he popped up a little later in the process and they really like this guy. Not to say he's not going to get it.
Yeah.
But for the here and now, yes, certainly the momentum seems to have shifted towards James Gladstone. And if you read in between the lines, the fact that he's the final interview of all the finalists, does that mean that they stacked it in a way that they wanted it? Yeah, to be him last.
I think that what I also want to not dispel the notion, because anything could happen, but I've seen not only on the text line, because little big man, I see you texted in and you left it on the MyBookie Digital chat line as well, but I've seen this in my mentions as well, this idea of, well, let's get both of them. Let's hire Ian Cunningham.
Yeah, hire Ian and then make Gladstone an assistant GM.
So 2 things to that. Number one, James Gladstone is basically the assistant GM in Los Angeles right now. So he's not going to probably leave for a lateral move, even if it, actually entails the title as opposed to the director of scouting strategy. So that's number one. Number two, I proposed that exact scenario to multiple people around the league when the James Gladstone request was first made by the Jaguars and his name first entered the inner consciousness of so many in the mainstream. And their reply, he's ready for the big boy chair. Like he's not going through this process to finish second.
Yeah.
Like he's going through this process to either get the job or not get the job.
Yeah, and we heard that phrase with some of the coaches coming around in this coaching cycle of they want the job, not a job. So it's not just like, yeah, I'll do it because it's a title for something, because to your point, everything he'd be doing would be the same. It would just, pretty much virtually be a lateral move to an organization that hasn't been winning, when you could just do the same thing at an organization that you've already been working at and are comfortable with everybody and have your claws in. And now people have an eye on you. So he's in his head. If he doesn't get this, he's like, next year I'll get a GM job.
It's the same thing with Nate Shieldhouse, too. Like, look, I mean, ultimately, and I don't know what went down there, but for him to stay in Los Angeles and get the promotion to passing game coordinator from passing game specialist next to Sean McVay, and yes, he's technically number 3 in command. All right, well, they're the Rams, and he's Sean McVay, versus you go to Jacksonville to a first-time head coach who's also going to be the play caller, so you wouldn't even have been a play-calling OC. It's the same exact scenario, I think, here.
Yeah, why would you move across country for a job that's not the ideal job if it's not going to get you where you land to, right? Like, I think Grant Udinski, the move, obviously it's a promotion, but even though he's not the play caller, it's learning from someone like Liam Cohen after you've spent time with Kevin O'Connell.
And he was like the assistant OC and assistant to the head coach. Like it was a nebulous sort of title. Like certainly an important role within the infrastructure of the Vikings,
it's
but
still
it wasn't
an up move for
it wasn't the offensive coordinator. So for him, it's a little different.
By the way, real quick, remember when you read the tweet from Jag Gator for the
and then
number?
they went after
and he said, like, I know someone who used to break the combine results in class, and Grant would get so upset because he had it recorded and he couldn't wait to go home and watch every hour of the combine, every second of the 7 hours, 9 hours, or what have you. And then, the Jags did a video on Grant.
Yeah, and he was talking about he would DVR it.
And he's like, I can't believe someone remembered that. Yes, that's true. And he DVR'd it over something that his dad loved. And he just couldn't remember exactly what it was. I love stuff like that. All right, let's say hello to XL Primetime.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. Find the coolest cats in town at coolcatsjacks.com.
Leon Cersei with us. Leon, I feel like an idiot. Yesterday I asked you what you used to do during the anthem on field, but you were never on the field during the anthem. I totally forgot that's been, in the last 10 or so years?
No, well, last time
since they started.
Oh, yeah.
When they changed it.
Yeah, they changed it maybe about 10 years ago. 10, 12 years ago, yeah.
My, how time flies.
It really
does, absolutely.
All right, who is the new Jaguars general manager?
Probably Ethan Moore.
Oh, so not
new. Okay.
You're going.
Is this so you don't get let down?
No, this is me and Matt Hayes' conspiracy that the reason why they're going to go in-house.
After all this, after 10 Zooms, after bringing 4 other candidates all the way to Jacksonville.
They need attention.
They need attention.
Yeah.
Are you trying to like brace yourself? Like,
That's
are you
what I
trying
said.
to
Are you trying to, like, just talk
or is
yourself
this just
into
you two just going down the negative Nancy train?
No negative.
Yeah.
No negative. Listen, this late in the game with the combine around the corner, the concern is you bring somebody in, they've got to jump in full throttle.
But they've already been scouting this class for a year and a half.
Or it could be just the guy is already there in meetings and just haven't announced it. Not being negative, we're just preparing for the best.
Preparing for the best or preparing for the worst. We listen.
That's the person out of
It's the off season, so we're
Yeah.
preparing for the best.
I like it.
That is the person out of these that knows the most about the Jaguars at this point in time.
And helped them through the Liam Cohen search.
Yeah, I mean, listen, even if they do get a general manager, you might want to keep him in position
Yeah,
for
that's what I
some
was
capacity for the transition.
Right.
Because he's already there. Shaw's familiar with him, the whole process, So if he does get a GM job, I think there's some capacity. He'll probably keep him around somewhere.
All right, the combine's next week.
Yeah.
How many guys are you scouting ahead of the combine? Offensive linemen.
Well, I'm actually, my attention is offensive line, defensive line.
Okay.
I would like the 5th pick to be Mason Graham.
All right.
I like him. He's big, physical, can rush the passer and stop the run. I think that'll be a nice little rotation with him and Mason Smith and Mason Graham. And then you've got your guy in the middle.
Devon Hamilton.
Well, the
Eric
other guy.
Armstead.
Hey, Armstead, yeah. Hopefully
The Walter Payton Man of the Year.
Yeah. At least I'm proud of him. I just like to see more of a sighting
Yeah.
of him doing the game.
And, yeah, especially in the interior where he should have been in the first place.
That part.
All right, good stuff. What's coming up, Leon?
Well, we're going to talk Jags GM. We're going to talk Combine as well. And we got Coach in-house.
Coach Campo.
All day.
All right, sounds good. Thanks. We'll be
You got
listening. You have to differentiate between Coach Campo and Coach Camp, which is Anthony Campanile,
Yeah.
Jaguars defensive coordinator.
Yes.
Keep our ducks in a row. All right, that's going to do it for us today. For Mia O'Brien, for Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. Enjoy your weekend. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you on Monday, but don't go anywhere.